Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another second stimulus check and second stimulus package update as we begin this brand new week today. And we actually have very interesting news to basically talk about, and it's going to be about, as some of you guys probably already know, Donald Trump's recent 4 executive orders which he recently signed. We're going to be talking specifically about what it is, what it involves, and then probably the side that less people are talking about right now, which is basically what exactly is really the true reality of the situation to what is going on right now. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting talk because I think right now there's been just so much confusion and moving parts that's basically going around, some people saying this and that it's kind of very like unclear, I think, right now. So we're going to be talking much more about the in-depth side to that. So definitely watch all the way to the end because I think we're going to get a lot of things out of this, and because I already kind of did a lot of the research, so that's what I'm here to basically share with you guys in today's episode. But real fast, before we begin, make sure you smash the like button because it definitely really helps out the channel, and also consider subscribing if you are interested in videos around the second stimulus check and stimulus package, or also general financial / personal development topics. We do also talk about the stock market, so just be prepared for a little bit of that, but I only post a couple times a week, which I think is perfect, so you guys won't be bombarded with like a whole ton of different videos anyway. So definitely consider subscribing if you are interested in that kind of stuff, and hitting the bell notification to get notified since we are a smaller channel at this time. Oh, and also feel free to comment down any opinion at any time as you guys are watching through this. Okay, let's get the video started. So the current story, as some of you guys have probably heard, is that Donald Trump basically recently signed 4 executive orders that basically cover 4 different parts of the second stimulus check and second stimulus package. He basically wrote his own executive order that basically is supposed to cover the unemployment benefits extension, the eviction ban, the payroll tax cut, and the student loans situation, basically trying to postpone when they're due. So the current situation with the unemployment extension and unemployment benefits is that he basically wants to extend the unemployment boost by about $400 every single week, which is basically, of course, $200 cheaper than what the Democrats want of $600. This is going to be retroactive since July 31st when unemployment boost ended. The only situation is that basically the federal government will only cover about 75% of this. So basically, in theory, it really is technically a $300 guaranteed stimulus extension for the unemployment benefits, and then the states have to cover the other 25% of the benefits, which means that they have to cover at least $100 per person that's on the unemployment extension boost benefits. The other part of it is that to qualify compared to the first CARES Act is that the person has to make under $100 on regular state benefits to qualify. So what that basically means is that if you're currently on the unemployment benefits extension, if you currently receive less than $100 from the state, sadly it means that you're probably not going to be qualified for it. Most people are probably receiving more than $100, but that is still something very important to know. And also there's some people, I believe, that are on the unemployment boost, but they're really underemployed. So if you are underemployed, basically employed but just not working like a full-time kind of situation, you probably do actually very likely make under $100, or you're getting under $100 on the regular state benefits. So that is just one thing to really consider. And then the next 2 parts of it is basically the eviction ban. This should be pretty straightforward, is that he just wants to ban evictions all the way to the end. The only thing is, I will say, is I believe he doesn't plan to do anything right now at this time for the landlords and the homeowners. So the problem is that he's going to help the people that currently need assistance to pay rent by banning evictions, but at the same time it also does mean that the regular homeowners or landlords that have to pay for like the building, housing fees and all that, they might end up being stranded at this time because they don't know what they're going to be doing about that. So it could potentially lead to a lot of issues in regards to like the housing crisis and the housing market later down the line. And then the third part of it is really about postponing student loans. So it should be also another straightforward part, is that if you are currently on student loans, they're basically going to postpone it all the way until basically the end of this year. Okay, and then really the fourth and final part of it is that he really just basically wants to do something related to the payroll tax cut. Now, this part is very, very interesting, and it's actually a misleading misnomer, because the reality is that if you really read it, it's not really a true tax cut, because you actually have to pay it back. So that's actually the crazy thing. And I think it's actually exactly because of that reason. There may be many companies, especially because so many companies are on like a budget cut of some kind, that may not actually want to really go through with it. But basically, they're going to do like a payroll tax cut where you're going to get some of the money in your taxes back. But however, you do have to pay it back eventually by the next tax season. And I think the other issue also is that I'm pretty sure both the Republicans and the Democrats actually do not want to do some kind of payroll tax cut. It's actually something that Trump really wants to push for himself. My personal gut is I think he wants to do this because if you know about Donald Trump's past history, he has been suspected of doing a lot of things related to like tax manipulation, tax fraud, all that kind of stuff. So I do believe that he maybe really wants to force this in really for himself, and he's trying to call it a payroll tax cut to kind of disguise it from what it really is. Okay, now the situation is that there's really three problems that I think a lot of people are not fully talking about right now that I think are really important to address, and then there's a little bit of a misunderstanding. I think the first issue is that even though he signed these executive orders, there's a lot of question about whether he even has the power to do it. And I'm pretty sure there's a say that Congress actually still has to basically approve it. So what he basically wrote out, you can basically almost consider it as basically another proposal. And I say this because I think that there are so many people right now that are getting super hyped and excited and oh my gosh, Donald Trump basically officially passed something. And I mean, there's reason to be excited about it because at the end of the day, I mean, it does mean that we are making progress, like I've mentioned about the great news. But I think that people still have to really understand is that this stuff, first off, can still be challenged and it still has to be approved by Congress. You can even almost consider this as basically just like another third proposal. With the Democrats, you have the HEROES Act. With the Republicans, you have the HEALS Act. And then now with Donald Trump, you have this like mini act that's basically the 4 executive orders. So I think the biggest thing to really keep in mind is I think that we basically have to live with the idea that until we see that money in the bank account physically show up, you can basically consider the majority of this as basically just talking ideas that people are basically fighting over right now. And also to really also understand that even if it does actually show up in your bank account, it's also very important to understand a lot of the caveats and rules between it, because I think that as kind of mentioned is that there's so many different caveats that are kind of written in and that are very easily misunderstood. Like I bet you if the payroll tax cut thing actually goes through, I almost guarantee you that there will be a percentage of people that will take that extra money and basically spend it thinking that they have maybe extra casino money, or certainly at least even if they have to spend it on necessities, but not realize that they really have to budget, because there is a chance that they're going to have to potentially pay it back by the end of next tax season. But if a lot of different caveats and different things do show up, I'll definitely give you guys updates about it to really go into detail. So definitely smash the like button and hit the subscribe key if you haven't done so already, so you guys can get notified in future videos where I'll talk about this stuff. The second issue is that the unemployment, 25%, still has to be covered by the state. And the problem currently is that many states are kind of broke right now. There's a lot of states that are actually in debt, so they don't actually physically have the money. So if the states are not able to actually provide the other $100, it actually doesn't really do much, because it means that all of this just becomes talk and it's not really valid at this point. And then the other problem is that even if the states try to force out this situation, some of them may have to go into even more debt to basically be able to carry through, which doesn't really do anything. To me, this is almost like, having like a student who's basically on student loans and owes a ton of money, but they realize that they can't physically get a job. So what they end up doing is trying to go back to school to take out even more loans to put themselves in even more debt, thinking that later on they can make even more money to make it back, which very much might happen. But the problem is that in these times, there is so much uncertainty that I would try not to bet on it. And then the third problem that I can really foresee happening in this situation, I think, is that because I feel like if this somehow magically passes through, and let's say the Republicans and Democrats just don't challenge it, and it actually does somehow get approved, the great news is that we can start collecting our unemployment benefits. If you're currently in danger of the eviction, you can, hopefully continue staying in your place all the way till the end of the year. But the real danger, I think, is because the senators at this time are currently on vacation, which is crazy because I don't know how they can take so much vacation and make millions of dollars, especially in a time period like this where barely anything is open. I'm like, what are you doing on your vacation? Maybe they're just staying home. However, they are prepared to return to Congress if needed within a 24-hour notice. But then the problem I feel is that what my biggest fear is that if they end up going through with this, it may actually reduce the sense of urgency to pass the other areas of the stimulus check and stimulus package, since this part really only covers 4 areas. It doesn't cover the original $1,200 that a lot of people are supposed to get. So if they end up passing this, it would be great for a lot of people, but it also means that it's going to potentially lead them to procrastinate even more now all the way until September, delaying the regular $1,200 stimulus check that's supposed to be applied to almost, not everyone, but a much greater population of people in this country. Now, my personal opinion about what has been going on is that, as some of you guys probably know if you guys have already been watching some of my past videos, is that the majority of this has all been because of politics. Really, everything has been driven because of political gain, and I personally think that Donald Trump is probably really doing this as some kind of publicity stunt to basically make it look like he's basically the hero that's trying to help people, when in reality that I think that the real depth is that he's trying to do this. There's thoughts, right, that he's trying to do this knowing on purpose that the Democrats are probably going to challenge this, and then when they do, if they do, he's going to basically now put blame on the Democrats to make them look bad, like the Republicans are somehow magically the hero. The other big thing is that I'm also trying to gut it that I feel that there is a very high chance that the reason the Republicans have been delaying this the entire time, aside from the fact of just their natural personality of procrastination and, laziness to kind of just chill with it, I personally think that a huge reason for all of this also is that he's trying to postpone doing all of this so he can take action closer to election day, hoping that he can basically appear as if he's the hero, which is what a lot of people are thinking right now, so he can appear as the hero in a fresh case where he's doing this right next to the election. So now he gains a lot of fans and voters that he can hopefully sway to re-vote for him again so he can get reelected. So really the majority of this stuff has really just been because of politics. And if you really know the foundation of the Republican ideas, it's that basically the Republicans the whole time, at the end of the day, they will always value the elites and large corporations over the common individual. And they know it themselves. I mean, they purposely, this isn't even like a guess. I mean, they've spoken specifically on camera and on news about how much that they're really against this whole entire thing. They don't want to extend the unemployment because they want to force people to go back to jobs that don't even exist, as we've already mentioned in past videos. Subscribe if you haven't done so already to kind of join the community and family, and smash the like button if you're with us. But basically, I think that if you really understand the ideas of the Republicans, I think that this whole thing has basically been a publicity stunt, and it's really for them to try to continue staying in power and gaining that support system when they know that so many millions of Americans are very unsure about what exactly is kind of the details of it. But that's why you guys hopefully will know, and hence that's why you guys are here and watching all of these YouTube videos to really understand the depth of it, while a lot of people though will probably be very misinformed about what's going on. I mean, there was literally an article I remember even reading where I believe Mnuchin basically was trying to threaten the people, saying that for some of these parts of the executive order to really apply, Donald Trump would have to get reelected. So it really does show you that there's so much politics that's going on behind this entire situation the entire time. So yeah, I mean, I really just wanted to share my personal thoughts about the situation, because I think a lot of this stuff less people are kind of talking about, since it really does go into the much more depth side of it and the motivation to what is going on and why it's going on and what exactly they're trying to do right now. But maybe comment down your personal thoughts about it, whether you agree, you disagree, if you guys learned something, what do you guys think should happen, what do you guys think actually will happen. Would love to basically hear them. Oh, and remember to smash the like button if you haven't done so already, and consider subscribing and possibly hitting the bell notification button for other updates like this. Again, I only post about, a couple times a week, so you guys won't be bombarded by a ton of different videos anyway. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, because once again, we really are in this together if you've been following the last couple of episodes and videos. Stay safe, hope to see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.